Welcome to the 700 Club. I asked our staff to see if they could unravel some of the mystery of this primary season. And let me tell you, the Republicans deliberately wanted to make it complex so that they would slow it down and not have a quick winner. And I've got all these graphs. I'm going to show you state after state, how much delegates they need. Maybe it'll make some sense for you, so when you're out talking to your friends at various parties, you'll seem knowledgeable. Well, after his big wins on Super Tuesday, Donald Trump appears to be on a clear path to win. But some in the Republican establishment are launching a full-scale assault. And I might say Mitt Romney, who I consider a friend, is making a horrible mistake. And you just ask yourself, Mitt, cool it.
Well, there are all kinds of ads being used to attack the Donald. Polls still show Trump with big leads in upcoming Republican primaries, including Michigan, where the candidates debate tonight. Ephraim Graham has the story.
Just 4 years ago, Donald Trump and Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney appeared as political friends.
It's my honor, real honor, and privilege to endorse Mitt Romney.
But now there's bad blood. Romney is urging Republicans to support other candidates. Trump tweeted a blistering response saying, quote, "Looks like two-time failed candidate Mitt Romney is going to be telling Republicans how to get elected. Not a good messenger." The Republican race is apparently losing a candidate, as Dr. Ben Carson has essentially suspended his presidential campaign. That encouraged Ted Cruz, who believes he's the best candidate, to stop Trump. The Texas senator urged Republican voters to abandon their candidates and get behind him.
If you've been supporting another candidate, we welcome you.
That is also a message to supporters of Ohio Governor John Kasich, who's yet to win his state, and Marco Rubio, who's seen victory only in Minnesota. But at this point, neither Kasich nor Rubio are expected to drop out of the race. Rubio's home state of Florida is reportedly ground zero for a move by top Republican strategists and donors against Trump. The Washington Post reports they're planning to try to stop Trump from winning the GOP nomination, including using commercials against him. But it may be too little too late. Trump leads in polls in Florida, and he's built up a lead in delegates heading into tonight's Republican debate in Michigan, another state where Trump is leading in the polls going into next Tuesday's primary. Ephraim Graham, CBN News.
Okay, are you ready for a little math? I know you say it's mind-boggling, and without question, the Republican Party decided they were going to take it slow and they're going to drip it, drip, 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 drip out. I think the number of debates they're having is insane. They're cutting each other apart, and it's a big, big mistake. But I don't run the Republican Party, so that's their call. But nevertheless, let's take a look at the path to victory for the Republican candidates. It takes 1,237 delegates to win the presidential nomination. You got that? 1, 2, 3, 7.
Nice even number.
That's the number. Right now, Donald Trump has 319. He needs 918 more. Ted Cruz has 226 with that big win he had in Texas. He needs over 1,000. And Marco from down in Florida, he's got 110. And he needs 1,212 more. And
that's Kasich. Rubio needs 1,127, right?
Beg your pardon, 1,127. You read it better than I did. Kasich's only got 25. He's hoping to get Michigan. He's hoping to get Ohio. There's some of these, well, let's look at some of the key primaries that are coming up. Now, remember, you've got to have 1,237 delegates. Now, on the 15th of March, you have the winner-take-all states. Marco Rubio's home state of Florida has got 99 delegates. John Kasich's home state of Ohio has 66. Missouri has 52. Now, you move on down to March the 15th. You have the big proportional states of North Carolina with 72 delegates and Illinois with 69. Okay. Then, on April the 19th, Donald Trump's home state of New York. And that's proportional, 95. And then on April the 26th, there's the winner-take-all state of Pennsylvania, 71 more delegates. And on June 7th, the end of the race, the big winner will be the winner-take-all state of California, got 172 delegates. And New Jersey will come in with 51. Wow.
Wow, it's
Are you confused?
It is complicated.
It's
well,
extremely.
You think, why do you make it so complicated? You've got some proportionate, some that are winner take all.
They did it deliberately to slow the thing down, so that you just don't win New Hampshire and it's all over. So he's going to take it all the way down through California. So the clearest path to victory will be through the big winner-take-all states of Florida, Ohio, Missouri, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. And also wins in the proportional states of Michigan, North Carolina, and Illinois. Several smaller states, Kentucky, Louisiana, Kansas, and others. So that's what these guys are faced with. It's going to take a long time, and you've got to have a lot of money to be competitive in those states. And it looks like Ben Carson has pulled out. And, I agreed with him. I couldn't see a path to victory, but I didn't say so when he was here because he's a good friend. If he wants to run, that's his business. But he's pulling out. Jeb Bush pulled out a long time ago, and he had a potload of money in his pack, but he wouldn't get any traction. And so you say, well, Trump won on Super Tuesday. Yes, he did, but he's only got 300 delegates, and he's got to have 1,237. So that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. If you wrote all that down, it's still hard to keep up with.
It's very hard to keep up with. And, there's also the whole delegate issue where a lot of people, I think, feel like their vote doesn't really count.
Well, it does count, and it counts a lot. But the thing of it is, again, these guys are committed for usually the first ballot. So you go into the convention, and you've got all these delegates pledged to Trump or to Kasich or to Cruz or whoever. At the end of the first ballot, these guys are free to vote whoever they want to.
So it can totally...
Oh, yeah. Then it's behind the scenes. It's smoke-filled rooms. It's making deals and who gets to cut with whom. And sooner or later, you're going to have a winner. But we may have the first time in a long time where there's a brokered convention and it goes on and on. It looks that way. But Trump might tie it up, seal it up pretty quick. But nevertheless... if he beats Rubio in Florida, if he beats Kasich in Ohio, the game is over.
Well,
no
what do you think about some of the people who've been speculating about a third party, an independent?
Insanity. No third party is won, and then nobody's going to win this time. All that'd be is spoilers. So if somebody comes into the Republican Party as a third party candidate, he will give the election to the Democrat. But the Democrats don't know what to do. What if Hillary gets indicted during the summer? Are they going to then suddenly have another convention and put up Joe Biden? I mean, it's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the United States of America, and none of us know what's going on. But I wanted to show you that's the way the game is played, so now you're as knowledgeable as anybody else. Well, the front runner on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton, could be facing still more trouble in her email. Wendy Griffith has the story from the CBN newsroom. Here's Wendy.
That's right, Pat. The Department of Justice has granted immunity from prosecution to the staffer who set up Hillary Clinton's email server. The Washington Post reports the FBI is ready to wrap up its investigation of the mishandling of classified and top-secret emails. The Post reports former Clinton 2008 campaign worker Brian Pagliano is now cooperating with officials. Well, the Supreme Court heard the biggest abortion case in decades Wednesday, just a few weeks after the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. Protesters mobbed the court fighting over the case, which involves Texas abortion clinic regulations that protect women's health. The 2013 Texas law requires abortion doctors to have admitting privileges to nearby hospitals and for clinics to meet hospital-like safety standards. Opponents say the law's purpose is to block access to abortions. But Texas Solicitor General Scott Keller says it's about making women's health a priority.
This case is not about overturning Roe versus Wade. what this case, the issue in this case is, can Texas enact valid patient regulations that improve safety? And when over 210 women annually are hospitalized due to abortion, Texas can.
Whether the law stands or falls depends now on Justice Anthony Kennedy. If he sides with the conservative judges, the court splits 4-4 and the regulations are upheld. If he sides with the liberal colleagues, the safety measures will be struck down. CBN News spoke with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton about this case, and you can find out how many women are rushed to emergency rooms after abortions every week in Texas. Just go to cbn.com to find that interview. In other news, North Korea has fired short-range projectiles into the sea on the country's east coast. Officials in South Korea say the launches happened shortly after the UN Security Council approved the toughest sanctions on Pyongyang in 2 decades. That's because of its recent nuclear test. Defense officials think the projectiles could be missile, artillery, or rockets. A recent outbreak of the Zika virus in Latin America has caused officials to declare an international health emergency. The virus causes brain damage in babies and may also lead to severe neurological disorders. Operation Blessing is on the scene there in Latin America, using a unique approach to prevent the virus from spreading. Our Gary Lane has that story.
Health workers in Lima, Peru fumigate classrooms in hopes of preventing the spread of the deadly Zika virus. But insecticide spraying and mosquito nets, for the most part, have proven ineffective in stopping the mosquito called Aedes aegypti that spreads the Zika virus. Operation Blessing International President Bill Horan explains that it has to do when the mosquitoes are active.
Mosquito bed nets are not as effective for these mosquitoes as they were for most, because the Aedes aegypti sleeps at night. They don't bite very often at night. These mosquitoes are especially active right at dawn for about 2 hours and just before dark for about 2 hours.
Based on Operation Blessing's experience in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, Horan came up with a unique solution. OB is distributing mosquito-eating fish, like the indigenous sambo fish in El Salvador.
We are using them, we're distributing them, and we're helping to support a woman who is raising them down there. But in Mexico now, we have the okay right from the cabinet level of the Mexican government to use gambusia that are found locally in Mexico to eat mosquito larvae.
OB is working in the Acapulco area and soon in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula near Cancun. And on location in El Salvador, Operation Blessing's Tony Cece explains how the project works there.
They're putting the fish into their sinks and into containers like this. Now this one's being used to store the sambo fish, but in homes they use it to store water. And one of the problems is that these are a breeding ground for the Aedes aegypti larvae, which become the mosquitoes that carry the viruses like chikungunya and dengue and now Zika.
The Zika virus has been linked to brain damage in babies and paralysis in others. OB workers are raising awareness.
Well, you've always said, Bill, that educating the public is crucial. How are you doing that? What do they need to know that they don't know at
Well,
this point?
Gary, we've learned in other outbreaks of epidemics like cholera, Ebola, that awareness, making the public aware, especially the poor who don't have access maybe to television the way that we do or the internet, we have our teams out making people aware of this Zika, what it is, and how they can fight it themselves.
And Operation Blessing's efforts aren't limited to El Salvador and Mexico. Horan met with Ana Hernandez, the First Lady of Honduras, to get her blessing to start a mosquito-eating fish project in that Central American country.
We're doing a great service. We're saving lives. We're eliminating suffering, and we're going after this disease at its source. But wherever this Zika goes, Operation Blessing is going to go also.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Thanks, Gary. Good to see Operation Blessing on the scene there, Pat.
It's very creative. But Bill Horan is a fish man. You know, he really loves fishing, and he was head of the Angler Society down in the Cayman Islands. And he has got these gambusias, and they just gobble up the larvae of these mosquitoes, just eat them by the millions. And it's one way of, you know, environmentally killing off this plague. But this Zika virus is very, very toxic. And the thought that little children will have microcephalic conditions when they're born, I mean, it's just terrible to think of it. So anyhow, if you want to help, this is really creative. You know, we're not just playing. We're out there doing something. And in these cases, with the blessing of the health authorities of these nations, Operation Blessing, you can participate. And whether it's $10 a month or $20 a month or a $100 gift or $50 or whatever you can do, the number's on your screen, 1-800-759-0700, or you can put in Operation Blessing, Disaster Relief, CBN Center. And this is one of the amazing things that Operation Blessing is doing to make life better for people around the world.